me out of it. He brought me through it. I am on the Civilian Review and Accountability Board, and I love it. I love serving my people and doing what? I'm a voice. I'm a voice. Again, I'm a voice for my people. That's what I am. So it's just, God, but I learned from that experience too, right? I learned that sometimes when you're angry, your actions can come back on you and affect you in a negative way. So when I post things on Facebook and Instagram, I will be honest, Miss Charlene, I am more careful of how I use my words, especially if I'm angry. Like when I'm angry, I do not post. I am not on social media. I put the phone down. So so I did learn a lesson from that. I grew from that situation. And I learned that when you're angry, go to a quiet place and pray. But that is not a time for you to be using your Twitter fingers and typing it. It's not a time for that. That's what God taught me through that storm that he brought me through. But
you being the conduit that you are, he poured that into you. Now he's giving you an audience of all these young people to give out. And so that lesson was just not for you, because now, boy, I'm a knower. I heard somebody pray one time and she got on her knees and she said, I'm not a believer. Tony Taylor, I opened my eyes because Medito said, watch him pray. And she said, I'm a knower.
You baptized me, right?
Yeah, I do know that. And then that girl said, I'm a knower. So what you know, can't nobody take. And so what you know from your experiences, you're giving it these young people to tell them to be all they have been created to be, the image bearers, because they are an image bearer. So what reflection is, so boy, that's good stuff. You're a knower. You are a knower, knower over here, knower over there.
Like you, right? Like you.
Boy,
like you, Miss Holly.
Boy, so praise God. I still want to hear about those babies, because they was
so you see my t-shirt, you see my sweatshirt, HH&2L. And I gotta get you a sweatshirt, all right? So it's called Hip Hop and Learning. And this is how me and my wife's nonprofit started. So I'd say about 5 or 6 years ago, my wife, who was a school teacher, was in the classroom, and she was just trying to think of an innovative way to teach Black kids how to read and write, learn the history in the classroom, and be engaged. Because as you know, the educational system is not built for our kids. It's not. Right. And so she's always frustrated about that. And so she began to look at ways in their language, and it was really, the tie-in was really hip hop. Hip hop is our young people's language. So she started using that in the classroom, and she started, really being effective in the classroom with her work and getting kids engaged to learn about the history, reading, writing, even math, like everything tied in to hip hop using their language. So she was so successful in the classroom that in 2019, she won Elementary School Teacher of the Year, right? So I was so happy for her on that day when she won that award. But that award she won began to open up many doors for her. And she wanted to find a way where she can expand her work outside of the classroom, because she just wanted to affect kids more than just in the class. But I want to go outside the classroom. And people were telling us, well, what you all need to do is start a nonprofit. So in 2019, we started the nonprofit, Hip Hop into Learning. And through that nonprofit, one of our milestones is that we have been able to, with those kids, the Real Young Prodigies. Now, who the Real Young Prodigies are, okay? They are a social justice-led hip hop group. That's what they are. So they make songs around social justice, around policy change. So our first song was called Reparations. Not our first song, but one of our songs called Reparations. That's about building wealth in the Black community and about the reparations that's owed to us. So that's what Martin Luther King was fighting for when he was assassinated, right? So our kids are taking up the mantle of that with reparations. And then we got the Crown Act, right? The Crown Act, the reason why you can wear your hair like that. And if they discriminate against you, Miss Charlene, guess what? You can take them to court and get the bag, right? Right? So that's one of our milestones, and one of our wins is that we were able to help pass the Crown Act ordinance here in Louisville. And we're doing more work as far as when it comes to policy change. So we passed that here in Louisville. And so the next step is that we want to get the Crown Act passed on a statewide level in Kentucky. And so in February, this month.
Be right back. Won't take long. Just want to share something real quick. Healthy Heart's mission, as you see, is to be a blessing to other image bearers. God dropped in our heart to be a blessing. Anything that comes in, we're soliciting your donations to help Healthy Heart, as well as we want to feed into a nonprofit. HHN2L is the nonprofit that we would like to feed into this quarter, March through May. We're excited about that. Would you donate to help us so that we can help them, as well as you can help them directly? Because Tony Taylor and his sweetheart, they're doing the thing. Help us to be a blessing and help them. Okay, now we're back.
This month, in a couple of weeks, we'll be taking the kids again to Frankfurt to talk in front of the Judiciary Committee. So we're excited about that. So those kids are doing this work. They are anointed. They're doing God's will. They are positive. They are ambassadors for change. And we're just so proud of them. They are young influencers in our community. We are just so proud of the work that they do. And this is what I do full time, Ms. Charlene. Full time, I work for this nonprofit and I help mold these kids into the individuals that they are. And it's just such a blessing. Like, not only am I teaching them, but they're teaching me. They're teaching me things about myself that I never knew. But I just love doing it. And it's funny because, you know, Ms. Charlene, I come from a group, right? You remember when I was in school? You remember that? So you know I'm using all the tools that I learned when I was in So Smooth for these kids now. Ain't it crazy how God, it's crazy. It's amazing.
It's a setup, Tony Taylor. Set up.
I'm just amazed. Yeah, I'm just amazed. I'm like, so God, this is the reason you had me doing this when I was a kid? Because you knew that I would be doing this with kids in 2022? I'm like, it's just amazing. It's amazing how God works in our life. It's just amazing.
Let me tell you something you said that I had to learn. You said it's amazing. One time I said, oh, this is such a surprise. And I had a preacher friend said, Charlene, don't say it's a surprise because God is so awesome. You just be amazed and stand in awe. And that's what he's doing even the more. Let me tell you the reason I wanted to talk to you about your nonprofit. I was talking to Jarvon Lindsay. You know Jarvon?
Yeah, Jarvon, who lives right up the street from me.
Quit it.
Yeah, Jarvon, I could walk to his house, him and his wife.
I've asked him to help me redo the website. Okay.
Yes.
Then I told Jarvon, I said, Jarvon, Healthy Heart, you know, we're moving on, whatever. God, somebody, we ain't got no income generator thing, but somebody dropped by and gave me some dollars. You hear me?
Yeah.
Just drop by and seed it. And I said, I have a desire that to be a conduit. It wasn't much, but I would like to seed into a nonprofit every quarter or every 6 months, or even may not be much, but it makes me remember Jesus with that little boy's fish and loaves and how and I thought, now we're just chit-chatting. And you know what he said? What about Tony Taylor?
Wow.
I said, shut up. He got one of them. And he said, just check him out, Miss Charlene, check him out.
Wow.
And I thought, look at God. Not only did that young lady just drop me a few dollars, ain't much, but she gave it. She said, Miss Charlene, not necessarily Healthy Heart, but I put it in there. She said, I just want to seed into you. And I'm like, God, you give to us that we might be a blessing to others.
Absolutely.
And I thought, I need a nonprofit. Just chatting, Jarvon, talking on the phone. He lets me talk. And he said, and he listens, baby. Anyway, he said, well, what about Tony Taylor? And I said, well, let me call him and see. And then you said, yeah. And then you gave me the initials, the HHN. And then I went on the website. And then I'm like, I'm super hyper. I'm getting more hyper. Joy took me to a doctor when I was 63, 60 something. She said, Mama, I think you got ADHD or whatever them initials are.
No.
No, he said I did. But I thought, boy, I'm on Matthew 6:33. So let me just focus on that. I know I'm hyper. I know I can lose focus. But if I focus on that, ain't nothing but. So anyway, I'm committing to the quarter, even if it's $5, $50, anything that comes this way, I want to seed into you, baby.
Thank you so
for what
much.
you're doing.
Thank you.
To God be the glory. And then I got to hear about, because you on the thing right here, and you on the podcast, and you was talking to somebody that's capping. I had to look at the Urban Dictionary. They capping. Capping. And I was like, I don't know what he's talking about, but he's everywhere. He's on the HNN2F, and he's got all these initials, the trap, And then the kids told me that the Trap back some years ago was a drug house. But I went on your page, and that's not what you're talking about. Because they showed me a pink house on a video one time. They tell me stuff. They tell me don't repeat everything I hear. But it was on your page. And I was like, he got the Trap. He got the PUBD, got all these initials. And Lord, but anyway, tell me about your podcast. Because we can talk
let me tell you about my podcast that I'm excited about that I just started this year. I have a sponsor for my podcast. It's called my podcast is called Real Talk with T-Made. And my sponsors are Louisville Health and Wellness. So what happened is that during COVID, the health community realized that they have not been good to the Black community. They know that. And which I think is really, that's how I know that God is really working his way with America, and he's really opening up ears and eyes to people in powerful positions, because the health community in not in just Louisville, but in the world, in our nation, they started realizing we have not been good to Black people when it comes to health. They don't trust us. We haven't given them sufficient enough health care. We've devastated their communities, and they're just not going to trust us when it comes to this vaccine. So what can we do to make sure that we correct all those problems? As far as getting information out to the Black community about COVID, the second thing, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do, for everything you do. Flows from it.
Go to the website, hit donate. Whatever you share with Healthy Heart will share a portion to HHN2L. Or you can go straight to his website, but we appreciate all your assistance. Thank you. He'll be back soon.